let's talk a little bit about equipping your character. There are a bunch of ways to do it. In the book, it says you can have this amount of gold or you can have this standard equipment. How do you guys like to equip your character?
I literally never want to go back to anything but loadouts. I don't want to do anything else. I love it, and I refuse to play any other games moving forward where I can't have a loadout because that was
Titan effect is
it was such a good system. It was like, here's some packages, and yeah, you can have some flexibility, but it just took so much weight off of equipping. It was like, I want to do stealthy shit. Well, here's some stealthy shit. Take that. And if there was something like, there was things where I was like, I really don't want this piece, and John would be like, okay, well, you can sub it out for this. It's about the same. Like, I love loadouts.
so we
D&D needs
recently did
loadouts.
an actual play of Titan Effect,
Yeah.
which is a Savage World based game by Christian Nome. And he put in there, I don't know, 10, 12 different loadouts. Like, are you going to be a sniper this time? Here's a cool loadout of all the equipment you could use that was in. They don't use dollars for buying equipment. They use equipment points. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a great system.
Love that.
So I do something similar most of the time with D&D. If I'm creating a new character, I will, if I'm playing a rogue, I'm going to take I think it's called the Thieves Pack.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you play other things, and they say, well, you get a choice between a Dungeoneers pack or an Explorers pack, and I will take one of those. And then I might do some quick swap outs of
Yeah.
certain things, but I love having, because they're essentially loadouts too, except it's not covering weapons, and it does cover
You get some options, but it's like you get a simple weapon and a quarterstaff, or a martial weapon and a bow of some type, and it's a little more loosey goosey, but it is akin to it. But I loved the loadouts. I love that every mission we had, you got a new one. So it wasn't like, I had to go down to the local town and buy a hand crossbow. It was that every time we had a new mission, I got to pick what my loadout was from the corporation, the group, organization we were working for. So I got to cherry pick what worked well for me in what I had just been told was going to be going on. I love that.
I generally like to take the gold and buy my own things simply because of something you brought up when we were talking about this topic. You remember the conversation we had about leather and studded leather?
Yeah, I was going to mention that here in a minute. Yeah.
Go ahead, say it now.
Like a lot of the loadouts in D&D and the kits, will come with leather armor. Like if you're playing a deck space thing, it come with leather armor.
Yeah.
And then usually your background will give you 10 or 15 gold pieces too. The first thing I do is go and swap out leather armor for studded leather armor.
Yeah.
It's like 50 gold pieces or whatever. Usually you talk to your DM, you can say, can I just apply the value of this leather armor I've never used to that and just add 10 to it to get the studded leather armor? And they usually say yes. But if you're wearing leather armor, you can wear studded leather armor. And if you're wearing leather armor, why aren't you wearing studded leather armor? Because I think leather is 12 plus your dexterity without any cap on the dexterity, and leather armor is 13. I might be wrong on the 12 and the 13, but it's one better and your dexterity bonus with no cap on the dexterity bonus. Some of the heavier armor say you can only add like 2 of your dexterity bonus to it.
Yeah.
But there's just no reason in my mind not to upgrade leather armor to studded leather armor the minute you can do so. And if your DM's going to make you pay for it, then the minute you got enough gold to get studded leather armor, get the studded leather armor.
And that was one thing that I figured out pretty quick, that playing a druid, you could wear studded leather armor, but all the kits and starting equipment came with regular leather. And I was like, well, what else am I getting screwed on here?
Right. Getting gypped.
So I will always take the gold just because, there's stuff like that where you maybe have a better story for taking something, or a better way of equipping yourself that doesn't necessarily come straight from the book. And I like to do a little research and get that kind of thing.
I tell you, even though I'd mostly take the packs that are available instead of the gold. Now that you say all that, I kind of miss that part of character creation, you know, spending hours on your character. You're going to do anyway, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
And a little more time to actually pick out exactly how you're going to spend this 170 gold pieces you got. I kind of missed that. Didn't realize I missed it until you just said that. One last thing I want to say about studded leather armor. There's another reason why you should take it. You're walking down the street in whatever little town that you're in, and there's NPCs across the way, and they go, wow, is that studded leather armor? Studded leather armor just looks cool.
It does.
In my head, it does anyway, you know. So
it does in real life too.
Just get the studded leather armor. You get better armor class, and you look cooler. I really don't think I need to make any more case than that. Look cooler, harder to hit. Get the damn studded leather armor.
I thought your secondary point was going to be that you can't have assless chaps unless ass-full chaps also exist.
Ass-full chaps do exist. They are called pants.
But we don't call them that.
Pantalones.
What other equipment do you like to make sure you have when you have a character?
I'm really big on like weird little like kits and stuff. Like I love like herbalism kits and calligraphy kits and like just those little things, and then trying to find ways to use them like we were talking about earlier. Like I love that kind of little stuff, and like being able to be like, can I use my herbalism kit to see if I can take some of these mushrooms that you said were toxic and make a poison? Like I love that kind of stuff. So usually I will look and see if there's some kind of small kit or accessory item that that doesn't help in combat or whatever, but just role play wise fills out your character. I very much so enjoy that. Even if you guys never see it, I know it's there, and I'm like, that's awesome. Fits the character so well.
There's some things I do. One is usually like if I'm playing a druid, I'll get a scimitar instead of a quarterstaff, or
that's not what you call it.
A scimitar.
A scimitar.
Instead of a staff or a sickle, and I don't really know why. It just seems like a cooler weapon.
I think you just like saying scimitar.
I do like saying scimitar.
Yeah. I almost never get like a regular bow. I will always get like a crossbow or like darts or something. To me, just a straight bow is just boring. I hate it. If that's the equipment like that comes with my, no, I'm not taking it. I refuse. It's just boring.
I love bows.
I love all the other.
And I always try to go for. If I'm playing a rogue, I like the hand crossbow. It's just very convenient. But if I'm playing like a ranger or some other ranged fighter,
yeah,
I always want the longbow, and it's sometimes hard to justify when you're playing a gnome ranger.
But also talking about equipping, you were telling us about a piece that you had made for your tabaxi that like is a.
Oh yeah.
To me, that I mean that's also equipment is getting custom pieces made. Tell us about that one again.
So I've used the hand crossbow, right, and then we'd be in situations where I needed to do melee instead. So rather than having to take 2 turns to put away the thing and draw the rapier, I found myself dropping the hand crossbow, free action, pulling the rapier, and then still have an attack to make.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a stickler for little rules like that, you know. And then I always make sure that I would say, I'm going to pick up my hand crossbow, 1, just because I'm a stickler for rules like that, and 2, because in the 40 years I've played, I've run into several DMs who will tell you 2 rooms later.
Did you go pick that up?
No, your hand crossbow's on the floor way back there. Son of a bitch.
I think I'm one of those DMs.
So on some downtime activities, I just went to an artificer and asked him to design and make me like a little lanyard that would attach to my hand crossbow so that when I dropped it, it was still actually on my person. And this particular artificer even made it retractable. So, you know, you drop it and it's like zip right back up to my,
Which
my
reminds
belt
me of
line.
like the ladies at Waffle House who have their lighter
But,
on a little thing and they will like not let you take
or
it.
the manager at Walmart that's got his keys on the
Yeah.
little thing. It's just-
Yeah. But to me, that's also part of your equipment. Like in late game stuff, like having custom pieces done that make sense for your character. Or like I had a bandolier that I could pull 2 darts at a time to throw.
Didn't Nico have a custom piece in the Saltmarsh game? If I recall correctly, there was a little kid of the leather worker.
Oh, well, yeah. So that wasn't
oh,
really
that
cool.
was cool.
There was a little kid who
That's so
made me
sweet.
like a little leather, like, I want to say it was like the rapier holder, like the little sling that your rapier sits in. And he made me one, and I asked him to personally like stamp it with his like insignia. And the dad was like, "Well, I'm a professional leather worker." I was like, "I'm letting the kid do it." Like, and I paid him, and I was like, "I'm gonna come back." Like, and that's more flair, but like that kind of shit, that's just great. I don't
No,
care
that
who
was
you
some
are.
good role playing.
That was great. And Nico
Sweet
loved
little
kids.
section.
Yeah. But yeah, getting custom pieces done, like with your DM, being like, I want to have this. So as a DM, it kind of sucks because you're like, okay, well, give me 4 hours to dig through the book and figure out how much this is going to fucking cost you. Like, I usually just like pick a number. I'm like, that sounds like 50 gold. I don't know. Do it.
Yeah. What would a normal one of those cost? Double it.
Ta-da. That's what you get. Because we don't do the rules of economy in our games. It doesn't exist. There is no copper. There is no silver.
We're much more worried about where you drop things.
Right.
That's right.
That I do think I've done that though, where you guys have dropped something and I will have been like,
We all have.
I don't think they picked that up, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna pull out my crossbow. But do you?
But
Right,
we
and then-
definitely get it from you.
And then you have that conscience moment
We're like,
as a
this is
DM. Like,
shitty.
am I gonna fuck them over on this, or am I just gonna go with the flow? And-
I will fuck you over for just a few seconds to make you sweat it, and then I'd be like, nah, you picked it up, it's fine. But I will definitely make a point to call you out on it because I'm an asshole.
We had a player one time, you guys were fighting some acid gel blob things, and the player like dropped his +1 sword and started shooting things and had moved off, and like
It's just like
and then the
approach.
blob moved over where the sword was, and
there was that suspense, like what happened to my sword.
I'm
And
like, oh god.
I thought about being that guy, but I was like, it has a nice acid etching on it now. It looks cooler.
right.
If anything, you made it more badass.
The NPC in town looks across the street. Is that studded leather armor and an acid etched magic sword he's carrying? That dude is hot.
Yeah, but in my head, I would like acid wash, cut off jeans, and that's
With
not.
holes in the knees? Well, cut off.
Yeah.
Acid wash, cut off. You're going to wear cut off shorts with fringe on it
Yeah,
as your player character.
yeah. I mean, that's where my brain. And when you immediately said it, that's where my brain went. It didn't go back to the sword we just
Well,
talked
let's
about.
talk about this guy with wearing the cut off blue jeans,
Yeah.
acid wash. He's a bard, right? I
Yeah.
mean, obviously.
100% apart.
Good.
Denim is medieval.
Weirdly enough,
Who knew?
Seems
John.
like
John did because John just knows shit.
you were the one who took me to SCA, where everybody's always like, denim is period.
I did that. That was
Which to me is like, it's Society for Creative Anachronism, so you really don't have to explain anything because that's what an anachronism is.
shit that doesn't
Yeah,
belong.
it's blue jeans. Anachronistic.
There you go.